My team and I send over 200 campaigns a year for every single e-commerce brand that we work with, and we do it without depending on discounts. It's 2026, and most e-commerce brands are trapped running the same discount-heavy playbook that every other brand is running, and it is absolutely crushing their margins. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the exact non-discount campaign strategy you can use for your brand, how the biggest brands in e-commerce are using email to scale to 8 or even 9 figures without spamming discount codes, and how they turn their list into their most profitable channel without pouring more money into ads and constantly chasing new customers. It all comes down to these 4 moves. And the first one is to stop discounting and start generating demand. These days, most brands are addicted to discounts. The moment the revenue goes down, they decide it's the most important thing to start throwing coupon codes at people. And yes, the discount code does kill your margin, but the real damage is what's done to your customers. You're actively training them to wait for the sale so that next time something goes at full price, nobody buys. If you decide to send out a 20% discount, that ends up eating all of your profit. You're literally selling it for what it's costing you to fulfill. And on top of that, it gets worse. First time someone buys from you at 20% off, that often becomes the ceiling that they're willing to pay in their minds for your product. Full price begins to feel like a ripoff to them, and so they wait for the next coupon or discount. And so before diving into what you shouldn't do, I want to set the tone and set the context for what we're actually going for with this style of campaign. So this is a brand called Wavy, and they basically just make a bunch of different kinds of hair products. And so this one dives specifically into one problem and one solution. Pool hair doesn't have to win. We've all been there where your hair feels dry or maybe wiry, that kind of thing. But what they're saying is, instead of losing to the pool, basically losing to chlorine or salt water, there are actually multiple products that they have that can help you win against the pool or against the ocean and how it messes with your hair. And so it's a good attention grabber up top, clear CTA, and then it shows exactly what you need to do to beat the pool. And then as always, a small little tactic, always have a button at the bottom of your email. Or another example is this brand Caraway, who makes cookware, pots, pans, stuff like that, and how even simple additions like a better pot or pan can make the transition to a better habit or eating cleaner, cooking cleaner a lot more simple. So as you can see, the strategy here is that they keep pressing specific buttons and then providing a solution to those specific problems. And by the time they ask you to buy, you already want to. Now, real quick, just because somebody always brings it up, yes, brands like this and brands like Grüns and IM8 and Everyday Dose, they still do run discounts, but there's a right way to do it. A discount has like 2.5 jobs. One is getting a new customer to take their first chance with you. And so a classic example is a welcome flow. And so brands like Grüns have meticulously tested their intro offer. And as a subscription brand, they're able to look at the lifetime value of their customer, not just on that first purchase, but over the months or years that they expect somebody to stay with them. And that makes a lot more sense than just focusing on the 52% off that they're offering on that first purchase. Not to mention that the single order price for Grüns is actually inflated on purpose so that whenever you get 52% off, you're actually paying exactly what they want you to pay anyway. Job number 2 is to clear out stock that you need gone. If you are making less money than you could be because you don't have room in the warehouse or you need to liquidate some stock, discounts are very helpful for that. And a potential third reason, I'll call it 2.5, is to push people over the edge to purchase on occasion. So if they need a final nudge to get them to buy, this would be a decent use case, say in an abandoned cart flow or something like that. If you do this, do it sparingly and do it with intention. Those are really the only reasons you need to use discounts. Everything else is accessory. Real quick, if you just rather have somebody handle all of this for you, there's a link in the description to book a free audit call with me. I'll audit your brand, give you 3 to 5 quick wins that you could implement this week, and then give you a full roadmap on how you can make email marketing your highest ROI channel. And most brands I do this for pick up an extra couple grand per month just off these quick fixes. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and click the link below and book a call with me. So all of this begs the question, if you're not slashing prices in your campaigns, what are you doing with them? And that brings us to move number 2, 1 email, 1 takeaway. So this is where most brands totally mess up. They try to cram everything into 1 email and it's just a mess. So take a look at this email. Now, I'm a fan of True Classics emails overall. This one in particular, I feel like was was a very good example of what you shouldn't do. So first off, we have our hero section right here. Nothing really wrong with it. So 20% off for Father's Day. And then they have like this build your own bundle thing. That's also, it's a different discount, which is kind of like they're just stacking 2 offers right here. Then they have another one. So 3 different offers in one email. And then they have this weird like flash sale, you know, all different offers. And so it makes it to where we're having, I think it's 4 different offers in this one email. There's no real content in it. So really the problem here is that the person's going to open the email, look at it for 3 seconds and not really know what to take away from it. So my rule is simple. 1 email, 1 topic, 1 takeaway. Now real quick, I just want to show you a few examples from my clients and exactly what we do to implement this strategy. So here we have a few examples. So one right here, this is a hunting brand, and this is specifically talking about how even though you can have camo on your torso and on your legs, actually one of the biggest giveaways to, you know, say a deer or a turkey, because their vision is so good, is your face. So not only is it skin tone, but there's normally some form of symmetry. Even if you're really ugly, you got some form of symmetry in your face. And so they detect movement, they detect symmetry and contrast before color or pattern. That means there's no room for weak points in your camouflage. And then we dive in. The exact solution to this problem is their balaclava, I think is how you say it. And then we go into a little bit of an infographic. Not only does it help you become undetectable, but it's also extremely comfortable. It's antimicrobial, it's lightweight. And so that's just a little extra touch to get people over the edge. And this email did great. Next, we have an email from a completely different kind of brand that whenever you open it, this is about what you see right here. And it's just an interesting hero section that people are like, what am I even looking at? It's like, okay, I'm seeing all these places. And so you scroll down and the whole point of it is, these are all the places you can take your rolling sewing machine case. So this is a craft supply storage company. And so this completely flips the script on what people traditionally think they can, or where they traditionally think they can take their sewing machines. Most people think a sewing machine is for at home. Whereas here it's like, we literally just listed, about 10 different places that you can take your sewing machine case. Clearly stated problem and a clearly stated solution. Next we have here, this one's a little bit different, but still sticks to one topic. So this is an email that is focused on a testimonial. So a lot of the times we'll run emails where they cover one testimonial, but it's really long. And maybe it tells a story, or maybe it communicates a specific need or issue, and then how we come in and solve it. This email is going over one testimonial and it's 2 words: catches fish. And let me tell you, this email did hilariously good. But this guy, this is a real testimonial, catches fish, and then he just posted pictures of the fish that it caught for him. And this just goes over the imposter jig and why it is such an important tool to have in your fishing arsenal. And for the record, this jig has sold out 5 times this year. So this campaign worked really well. And then lastly, I just wanted to give another example. So this email has multiple products, as you can see, is all into one general topic. So it says, your tote says everything about you. And so we attribute different types of personalities to the different colorways and different patterns that we have of this specific product. And so as you can see, each of these emails focus on one thing. And even the one that has multiple products in it focuses on one specific concept. And with each of these, you can read it in 5 seconds and know exactly what to do next. And as you can see, there aren't any discounts. The CTAs are clear. And there's one clear takeaway, and that is the action that everybody takes. Now, one of the main tools that we use to do this for our brands is called micro topics. So instead of one broad email about one product, you can actually zoom in and pick out one tiny piece of it to make an entire email about. Most of the time, brands feel like they can come up with 10 to 15 general topics for their entire business, and they think that's enough. But when it comes down to it, if you worked really hard, you could probably come up with 10 to 15 different subtopics within those general topics, and that is what we're looking for. So watch how fast this works. Say you sell protein powder. Now you could have one campaign that just says, shop our wide selection of protein powder, or you could do this. Email 1, why daily protein matters more than just within your workouts. Email 2, whey protein versus plant-based protein. Email 3, how to read a protein powder label. 4, why some protein powders taste chalky. 5, why some protein powders cause bloating. 6, why rest days still need protein. 7, the relationship between protein and afternoon cravings. 8, how to integrate protein powder into your busy morning. 9, should I use water, milk, or a milk alternative for my protein shakes? 10, how to pick your first protein powder. So that's 10 different email topics for one product. And that probably took 30, 45 seconds to come up with. And that brings us to the question that everybody's asking and wondering. If every email is one tiny topic, how are you going to come up with enough of them? Move number 3, how to never run out of ideas again. Now this is where most people freeze up. They think that they can't send 3 or 4 emails a week because they're going to run out of stuff in 2 weeks. Honestly, we send over 200 campaigns per year for each one of our clients. Truth be told, you get good at it really fast. And so to keep it simple, most great campaigns cover one of 6 major angles. Once you understand what these 6 angles are, you're never going to run out of campaign ideas again. The fastest way to demonstrate these angles is just to show you a brand run through all 6. And so I'm going to use AG1 as an example because we all know them and they do a really good job with their marketing. Now for reference, AG1 does about $600 million a year on basically one product. So here are the 6 main angles paired with 6 different emails that AG1 has sent out. So angle number 1 is brand connection, and this makes the brand feel human and trustworthy. And for brand connection, AG1 sent out this email. It's a letter from the AG1 CEO and president. Now you have to realize there's not any insane graphic design here. They didn't do infographics or anything like that. This was specifically to connect you to their brand. Angle number 2 is product clarity. And so this just helps the customer understand and gain clarity on your product. And so AG1 did how Chef Allison Roman uses AG1. So she's a high performer. She has a fast-paced life. And this just goes over how she integrates AG1 into her morning routine and how it's a part of her daily life. This just helps give context to how people use AG1. Angle number 3 is proof. And this helps people trust your product and trust the claims that you make about your product. And so for this one, it's the science behind AG1. And so it goes through different studies, and this is something that AG1 does really well. They help build trust by being very transparent about the studies that they've run or that other scientists have ran that then support their claims. And it goes through all the different stats, the percentages with multipliers, and then different verifications and certifications. And in my opinion, this is one of the most compelling angles that you can use on a regular basis. People don't get tired of seeing that your stuff definitely works. Angle number 4 is objection removal. And this is basically where you answer the different questions or concerns that people have, because most of your customers are going to have 4 or 5 of the exact same questions or concerns. And so you can address them all at once with compelling copy and design. Because you're not going to go over on calories, and even whenever you're cutting, your nutrition, your micronutrients really matter. Angle number 5 is value. And so this is explaining why your product is worth the price that you're charging. So naturally, AG1 isn't necessarily the cheapest product that you could buy, especially on a subscription. But whenever you look at all the things that you don't have to buy, assuming you are buying those, you don't have to buy vitamin C tablets. You don't need a multivitamin. You don't need a probiotic. You don't need vitamin B. You don't need super greens. And there are other things that they could include in here, but for the sake of an infographic, they didn't. And so all of a sudden, what you're being charged per month when you have all of these bases covered, it actually seems like it's pretty valuable. And number 6 is timing. Why should people care about your problem or solution right now? Now, a quick note, AG1 has done a discount on this email. You don't have to do that. AG1 has integrated a discount into their marketing and into their sales funnel, very similarly to how Grunes has done it. But you definitely don't need a discount to run this campaign and to have it absolutely crush and do really, really well for you. Now stack those 6 angles on top of your micro topics, and you're never going to run out of ideas ever again. And that's exactly how brands send hundreds of emails every year without repeating themselves over and over again. And whenever I need ideas fast, I pull from 4 specific places. One is Mild.com. I can see what my competitors are sending out, and there are multiple brands that I follow that are regularly sending incredible content ideas that I feel very comfortable just stealing the angles and running with them myself. 2 is past winners. After 2 or 3 months, you'll notice the trend of what works or even what specific phrases are working that get people to buy. And so as long as you're not sending the exact same email every week, you can come back to the same watering hole and use those angles that you found to work really well on a regular basis. Number 3 is just what's on top of your mind. Whenever you're having internal conversations on a regular basis with people in your brand, a lot of those conversation topics actually end up being over objections or how we can improve the product or specific things that people have said in testimonials. And so if you think about the last few conversations you've had, you can probably think of multiple good email topics within the last few conversations you've had. So have a note in your phone or have a group chat or something where you can put in campaign ideas just as they come up during the day. And lastly, if all of that feels like too much, there's the tool that I built specifically for you so that you can do all of this just with ChatGPT and never run out of campaign ideas again. And it's super awesome. I'm gonna show you how to use it right now. This tool is available in the link in the description, and it's called the Newsy Email Marketing Wizard. So let's run through this real quick. So I've made this to be as simple as possible. And so you click this button, start here. Then it'll give you a few different options of what it can do for you based on your needs. And oftentimes, maybe you don't know exactly what you need, and so a good option or an option comes up that seems good and makes sense. Now, the first thing that I would do is run your URL through the GPT. Say you're doing Nike.com. I haven't done anything yet. You just enter the URL, and it's going to analyze your website. And as you can see, it comes up with an in-depth brand snapshot of Nike. It goes over what you sell, your brand position, your categories, customer segments, what people are looking for, pain points, everything you need. And so you can then confirm or edit the brand snapshot, and then you can choose what you want it to build next. And so for us, we're just gonna ask for some micro topics or campaign ideas. Got it, I'll build non-discount campaign ideas for Nike. So it's been trained on everything that I've talked about so far in this video, and it basically just does it for you. So the running shoe mistake most beginners make, and it goes over the idea, how it ties to a micro topic, why it works, and then the CTA, so the reason or the thing that people are gonna do next. Breaking down the different types of shoes they have. Why your gym shoes shouldn't be your running shoes. The shoe built for squats, sprints, and circuits. So there's a cross-training shoe that they have. Why trail shoes need more than grip. Jordan is not just for game day. So you don't just wear these if you're hooping, you wear this out to the mall or out hanging out. You can wear it at home, wear it to church, whatever you need to do. The one bag gym setup. And so as you can see, this gives you all the ideas you need. And if you wanted to, we can turn this into a copy layout super quickly. Write copy for number 2. Let's do that. Then boom, I've got this set up to where it gives you 5 subject line options, 5 preview text options, and then 3 variations of a very simple kind of like our go-to, our evergreen campaign structure. So you have your headline, subject line or subheadline, your CTA, and so that's gonna be your hero section. You have your body copy or your bridge section, whatever you'd call it. And then you have an infographic. If you choose to do an infographic, you don't have to do it in every email. And then you've got your product section right here and a final closing section, a final CTA. And so most of the time you'll do an infographic section or a product section. Sometimes you'll do both, and it's really just case by case basis. And so in a matter of seconds, we went from a full brand analysis to a bunch of campaign ideas to a really, really good start for the copy that you need for your emails. So like I said, it's available in the link in the description. Just click it and you can get it. So now that you've got the emails, the next question is, how often do I send? This brings us to move number 4. Send more than feels comfortable. Most brands send 2 or 3 times a month because they're scared to annoy people. But honestly, that is way less than you should be sending. We start our brands at 3 to 4 times a week. That when your content is good, sending more will actually increase your open rates and decrease your unsubscribe rates. Every email is another shot on goal. And if you're making good shots and they miss, you just do more, because more good shots equals more sales. And even when people don't open your emails, if you're sending often and appearing in their inbox multiple times a week, they're going to see your name in their inbox. And that keeps you top of mind so that whenever a problem arises that you can solve, they're gonna know exactly where to go. And just because it freaks people out, you are going to lose subscribers every send. No matter how good your email campaign is, even if you had 1,000-person email list, which is really small, and you had an unsubscribe rate of 0.001, that's still 1 unsubscriber every time. It's okay. And as long as the list is growing 2 to 3 times faster than it's dropping, you're good to go. And if your list is growing more than 2 to 3 times faster, you can actually push your sending even further as long as you don't sacrifice the quality of the content for quantity. And if you don't know how to build your list like that, I broke down exactly how to maximize list growth in my pop-up form video. And the link is also in the description, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. And now to make sure that everything is as clear and simple and understood as possible, I'm gonna walk you through me building out a campaign calendar. Okay, and since we were already looking through Nike.com, we're just gonna make the calendar for them. We're gonna go for it. This is gonna be a good month. We're doing July, the World Cup is ending, and so we should be able to come up with some pretty good content. So the first thing we're going to do is mark out main events. And so this is going to be your sales, your holidays, if you have product launches, but also low stocks and restocks, because those are great points to add real urgency if they're going out of stock, but also whenever something gets restocked, it's implied that it went out of stock, and who knows when it's going to go out of stock again. For some brands, we also find that blogs or YouTube videos are also super powerful, and so we'll mark those as main events as well. And the reason we start here is because a lot of main events end up being date specific. And as well, we potentially need to build campaigns around the main events just in case they need some hype building, like a product launch or something like that. For most brands, we don't see more than 2, maybe 3 main events per month, but you don't have to have 2 or 3. You can have 1 or none, no big deal. So to start, the 4th of July is coming up. It's a big one, big 250. And so we're going to have a 4th of July weekend sale. And I'm not going to come up with like the actual content right now. I'm just going to come up with the concepts. Surely they are running something for 4th of July. It's probably going to be site-wide discounts, that kind of thing. And since it's a weekend, we are going to mark it as starting on Friday. And then just so I don't make a bunch of main events and don't give you guys enough non-discount campaign stuff, I'm just going to do 2 emails right here. And for reference, if you're the size of a brand like Nike, you should probably be sending every single day. But for this case, I'm just going to do an email every other day. That's where most brands are going to be. And I'll just make things a little bit simpler. And that's going to be, I think for this month, it's going to be 15 or 16 emails. We'll see how it shakes out. Normally, if I wasn't worried about the number of emails, I'd probably send an email or 2 before the 4th of July weekend to build up hype. Hey, get ready. The sale's going to go on. Stuff's going to sell out. Things are going to be crazy. Then I would have a Friday opener. I'd have a Saturday reminder. I'd have a last chance email. And then at night, on Sunday night, I would send a final hours sale just to add urgency. And then we're just going to do like, maybe, let's say there's like a Air Force One restock. And we'll do that. And those will be our 3 main event emails. Next, we're going to go into trust content, which is basically everything that we've talked about so far. Internally, we call it trust content. We can call it non-discount campaigns. They all kind of mean the same thing. So I'm here on the website, and obviously World Cup is a really big deal right now. They have things like soccer lifestyle, cleats, where they're pushing into soccer in general. They also have rep your team. Definitely going to do some stuff with that. Something I think would be really cool is if we did some sort of like dress like somebody, what Messi wears. Dress like your favorite player. And this could be a way for you to, 1, showcase proof that like, okay, you're not necessarily showing stats or science behind why your stuff's the best, but if the best players wear your stuff, that's proof in and of itself. And since the World Cup's going on, it's once every 4 years, we're probably going to lean pretty heavily into it, but we also have a bunch of other stuff on the website that needs to get sold. And so we might do something like every other email is going to be World Cup focused. And as we get towards the end of the World Cup, which I believe the finals on the 19th, we're gonna lean into it a little bit more. But I also think this would be a great push for the, let me slide over here. I think repping your team, just showcasing some of the most popular teams, and then you could have a big CTA for shop your home team, shop your country, that kind of thing. But yeah, all this gear looks super sick. And I think any way we could drive traffic to this would be a big win. So we can do like a rep your team or rep your country, shop by team. And as you can see here, just in the calendar, I'm not writing copy, I'm not doing any design. But what I do want to do is make sure that whenever I come back to look at this, when it's time to write copy or time to make designs, I need to know what I'm talking about. So I'm just trying to be as detailed, but also as brief as possible. So while we're focusing on the angles and things that might be sensitive to the time, we also need to go and look at our previous wins. Now, I don't know what Nike's been sending, but I do know what I've been sending. And I would say, like, I would extend this bit of trust to you that you can actually steal some of the campaigns that I've shown you today. And so, for example, this one right here is a killer for any brand, whether it's, rolling suitcases or duffel bags or whatever. And I think this would be a great use case for the places your cleats can take you, or shoes, or the places that you can take something, the places that you can cook, the places that you can store things, the places that you can wear this apparel, whatever it may be. I think that's a killer angle, and you can literally steal this idea. It's a great idea. Just use it. The places your shoes can take you. Sure, that's great. On top of that, we also have the custom GPT, and it came up with a bunch of good campaigns. So I'm going to take a look there and see what we've got in here, because we're not trying to only do soccer, but we're trying to stay soccer heavy. So we've got a few ideas here. So I think something like this, the Pegasus versus Vomero, which daily runner are you? I think something like that is great, because what's actually going to happen in that is we're going to give the specific advantages of both. So even though they're a little bit different, they're both going to be positioned as premium. And that helps people trust you, because you're shooting them straight on what is best for them, but it's also showcasing proof and the science and everything behind why these shoes are so great. And so we got Pegasus versus Vomero, which daily runner are you? And I think this is the one that I made copy for. And so, yeah, you're able to see just how powerful an email like this could be. And then you have your different types of shoes, and then you can also cross-sell to apparel, socks, other essentials, tops, other layers. And then, yeah, if you wanted to, you could link this to an article. If you're the size of Nike, you can totally have an entire article about this that breaks it down in further detail. So now I can see we haven't done a soccer email in a little bit, or a FIFA email in a little bit. So this next week, we're probably going to keep it pretty exclusive to soccer, especially because the final is a week from basically where we're at in the schedule. Let's take a look. The homepage, they're obviously focusing their homepage on what they're specifically trying to push right now. So I think we can go cleats. I think we could take a look, and says this is a bestseller. Once again, I really don't know soccer that well, but I am just looking and seeing what Nike is trying to push, and then adapt the email strategy to that. So let's look at the Nike Mercurial Vapor 17 Elite. Wow, what a name. Very cool. Okay. So it says the Vapor 17 Elite is unbelievably light, made with Nike's lightest tech ever. It unleashes blinding quickness with its fly light plate and feathery atom knit upper. So then we can talk about how this is, we can call it the lightest cleat on the planet, something like that. And we can put that in, and that'll showcase, I'm sure they've got some infographics or some details. Yeah, it goes through all these emblems, specific details that make it so powerful, so light behind the design. So there's a lot of info there. Reviews from someone who's apparently pretty good at soccer. Brazilian national team. Got to be pretty good. We're going to talk about the lightest shoes on the planet, the Vapor 17 Elites. The lightest soccer cleats on the planet. Curial. Is that how you spell it? Curial Vapor 17 Elites. That's going to be a solid email towards a specific product. That's probably going to sell really good. And I know I said that we're wanting to keep this primarily World Cup focused, but I think something that most brands would benefit from. And so for this case, I think it'd be really important to have some sort of series that you do basically every other week. So you could end up doing it twice a month if that's the best way for you to look at it. But I think for a brand like Nike, I think without putting too much effort into it, I think Workout Wednesdays would be really, really good. And so this could be a blog. You can show the workout briefly in the email. Do this twice a month could do it on Wednesdays. And this is a great way to get engagement, and also good to get people on the site. Once people go on the site, they shop hardcore. For a couple of our brands, whenever we're doing our end of month review, going over the high performers of the last month, normally blogs are at least one of the top 5 highest performing campaigns, because they get people on the site and get them engaged and invested with their time. And so that's a big thing that we're going to try to do. And so I think we're just going to place Workout Wednesday here, And then 2 weeks later, another workout Wednesday. And right now we're already over halfway done, I think, with the campaign build out. And so I believe it's on the 15th we figure out who the finalists are in the World Cup. And so on the 16th, we're gonna do a take your pick team versus team, and we're gonna do something to just ensure that we can get everybody all the gear they need before the World Cup, before the final. And so that's gonna be basically pay extra for 2-day shipping or offer free 2-day shipping for this one event that happens every 4 years. All right, and then for the 18th, what I love to do before big events, something that I think works great, is getting people to engage with you on social media. And so this is going to be a push to get people that are signed up for your email list to engage by tagging on social media with who they think is going to win the World Cup, either repping the gear that you've supplied to them with their team on it, or whatever, just trying to get people to engage online so you can get some virality and get people really moving, getting traffic to your website and to your social media pages. So we can do a tag us on Instagram with your bet. And then obviously on the 20th, we're gonna know who won. It's gonna be the champ is here. I like that. Then it's like dress like the best, something like that. Because now everybody knows who the best team in the world is, and they're going to want to scoop up all of the apparel, all of the shoes, all of the merch that they can. And so we only have a few more spots left after the World Cup. I'm kind of trying to figure out what other content should I make, what other content should we put on the calendar, and ultimately, this is a perfect use case for our custom ChatGPT to come in and save the day. So we're gonna go and look over and see what other ideas we can come up with. All right, so let's take a look. These are only 20 ideas. You can get this GPT to generate hundreds of ideas. I'm just going to look through and see which of these are solid, which of them aren't, and if I needed to make more, I can get it to make more. No big deal. What road running actually means. I like this, the outfit formula for hot weather training. It's mid-July. This is going to be the perfect time to put out some content based on, just how it's really hot, and you need to make sure that you are taking the right precautions, making sure that you dress in a way that is cooling, that you have clothes on that are breathable. And I know that Nike has a ton of apparel and workout that'd be perfect for the team. So back on the GPT, I think something like it says the 1-bag gym setup, build out your gym bag or something like that. But I like the angle of build out your gym bag where you can have a list of things that you would need to go to the gym. So you need your shoes, socks, shorts, shirts, maybe you need a hat or something like that. Then of course you need a duffel bag or a gym bag, something like that. And then that can either be a bundle that you would do some sort of special offer on, or it can just be a cool way to get people to bump and boost AOV by putting bundles that aren't discounted together. Then I think right here we'd go 2 days without an email. And then to end the month, what I think would be good, since it's almost back to school time, and some of you might not want to think about that, but since it's almost back to school time, I think it would be a good, we're talking about Nike here, back to school fit check. And that is showing off the different looks based on what kind of kid you have, or if you're going to college, or maybe you're a teacher, I don't know. But what kind of looks that Nike can support you in. So I think that is a great way to end out July. And so if we look here, we have a good balance of the different angles that we're trying to make. None of these are too repetitive. None of these are a waste of space by any means. These are all value driven, will engage people with unique angles and get them to buy. And so this is a solid campaign calendar that I would be happy to put my name on, with only one offer, only one sale in this entire thing. Even the restock, that's a non-discount restock. And so maybe, if you had the build out your gym bag, maybe that could be some sort of special offer if you wanted to. But right here, this month, we're only running the 4th of July offer. And then everything else is full price. And even, I don't know, if you wanted to go crazy with it, you could increase the price on the Champ is Here, Rep the Best. You can make the prices more because everybody's going to want to buy it no matter what. And the great thing is that next month, this is going to be easier than ever because we're going to be able to look at the data from the previous month and see what works and see what doesn't, and just do more of what works. So that's the full strategy. And yeah, it's stupid simple. Every email you send is going to press one button for one type of person, and the number of buttons is infinite. And that's what creating demand is. You're just consistently building a room full of people that want what you sell. And that's way better than getting a few extra sales on a 20% off discount. Now, if you want me and my team to do this for you, you can book a free audit call with me, and the link is in the description for that. I'll run a deep dive into your brand and into your email marketing, find you 3 to 5 quick wins you can fix this week, and then do a full breakdown of how you can turn email into your highest ROI channel. So go book your strategy call below, and I'll see you in the next one.